Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News, and your daily wrestling newscast for Saturday, September 10th, 2022. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin with Smackdown, which emanated live last night from Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. The main event saw Drew McIntyre attacked by Karrion Kross during McIntyre's match against Solo Sikoa.
Holy cow! It's Karrion Kross! The Kross jacket! Karrion Kross! And Scarlett have arrived! This lunatic is choking McIntyre out! The harbinger of doom, and there's Scarlett looking on! The Kross jacket! McIntyre's fading! This crazed, maniacal Kross! Doomsday has arrived for the Scottish Warrior! McIntyre struggling to breathe! We need help out here. Somebody get out here and help these guys.
McIntyre won the match by disqualification, but was seen trapped in Kross's cross-jacket submission to end the show. The match followed a segment earlier in the evening in which Sikoa was officially welcomed into the Bloodline during an in-ring promo segment that saw McIntyre storm the ring to attack Sikoa, the Usos, and Sami Zayn.
McIntyre heading toward the ring. Solo Sikoa's not backing down. McIntyre's got a score to settle here tonight. Credit to Solo for standing his ground, but Sami Zayn took the bullet. What a hero! Shoving Sikoa out of the way, Sami Zayn took the steel chair to the back from McIntyre.
Braun Strowman officially came to SmackDown as advertised, taking out both members of the Alpha Academy during their in-ring promo segment. Ronda Rousey won a fatal five-way elimination match over Natalya, Lacey Evans, Xia Li, and Sonya Deville to earn a title shot against SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan at Extreme Rules on October 8th at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. In other SmackDown results, Imperium defeated the Brawling Brutes when Giovanni Vinci pinned Ridge Holland, Hit Row and the Street Profits defeated Maximum Male Models and Los Lotharios, and women's tag champs Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah defeated Toxic Attractions' Gigi Dolan and Jayce Jane in a non-title match. Dolan and Jane are still listed on the NXT roster, and it's not known if this was a one-time appearance or if they can be expected to join the SmackDown roster officially. More updates coming out of Sunday's post-AEW All Out press conference locker room altercation. This week's Wrestling Observer newsletter indicated that potential legal action may be coming involving the parties involved in the fight, which is why no specific repercussions for CM Punk, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Ace Steel, and others involved have yet to be announced, outside of the vacating of the AEW World and Trios titles held by Punk and the Elite. The announcement of repercussions, which include potential suspensions or dismissals, is expected once the third-party investigation of the incident is concluded. The Observer also revealed that MJF was amongst the bystanders who were witness to the brawl and subsequently questioned as part of the investigation. There was also a mention of another AEW wrestler who claimed to be involved in a separate incident involving Punk earlier on in that day, although the nature of the incident and the identity of the wrestler was not given. With related injury news, here's the Wrestling News' Lou Kipilman.
CM Punk underwent surgery earlier this week to repair his torn triceps, according to a report from Dave Meltzer yesterday. Punk sustained the injury during his match with Jon Moxley Sunday night at All Out. The time frame for his return to the ring is not known, nor is his status with AEW following Sunday night's incident. This is the second serious injury Punk has sustained since joining AEW, following the foot injury he suffered back in June. For the Wrestling News, I'm Lou Kipilman.
In pay-per-views, last Sunday's edition of AEW All Out brought in an estimated 135,000 to 142,000 buys, according to a report in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter. That number is down about 30% from the 2021 All Out, which did 205,000 buys. That was CM Punk's debut on pay-per-view for the company. Tony Khan made mention of the expected drop in the post-All Out press scrum last weekend, stating at the time that this would be the first time an AEW pay-per-view event experienced a drop in buys year over year. The buy rate for the 2022 All Out show was also lower than any other AEW pay-per-view held in the past year, with the exception of Forbidden Door back in June. The live attendance at the Now Arena in Chicago for All Out was 9,100, including 8,800 paid, which was about 150 to 200 tickets short of a sellout. The event marked AEW's third straight pay-per-view event live gate to exceed $1 million, making AEW the only company other than WWE to ever achieve that goal within a calendar year. In ratings news, Impact Wrestling Thursday night on Access TV attracted an average of 60,000 viewers, according to WrestleNomics. 13,000 of those viewers were within the 18 to 49 key demographic, totaling a .01 rating in the demo. New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access, airing after Impact, drew an average of 46,000 viewers. In the 18 to 49 demo, the show also did a .01 rating, which translated to about 8,000 viewers. With some outside-the-ring news, here is the wrestling news, Brian Solomon.
John Cena is in talks to star in Ricky Stenicki, an R-rated comedy for writer-director Peter Farrelly, according to Deadline.com. Farrelly is set to begin shooting in January and is also in talks with Zac Efron to co-star with Cena. Farrelly's known for the hit comedies he made with his brother Bobby in the 90s, including There's Something About Mary and Dumb and Dumber. And he also directed Green Book, 2019's Oscar winner for Best Picture. For the wrestling news, I'm Brian Solomon.
Canadian pro wrestler and YouTube personality Hannibal, real name Devin Nicholson, was arrested late last month for assaulting a woman, according to a report yesterday from PW Insider. Nicholson, who had a bail hearing yesterday morning at the Ontario Court of Justice, had been in jail since his arrest, but he has now been released into the custody of his parents. His trial is scheduled for October 12th in Kingston, Ontario. And finally, some corrections. We want to point out that yesterday's edition of the Wrestling News incorrectly stated that AEW Grand Slam was taking place on September 2nd. The correct date is September 21st. We apologize for that error. Also yesterday, in a story about Wild Ian Campbell getting inducted into the Scottish Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, I badly butchered the name of the host city. It's Dunfermline. I apologize to the people of Dunfermline, Scotland, as well as the people of Dunfermline, Illinois. We also made an error yesterday when it came to the placing of the Rampage results. While we are steadfastly committed to making sure any pressing news is reported as soon as it happens, when reporting on future television events, we will be moving those results to the end of the broadcast. We apologize if we spoiled your evening. And finally, we would like to remind you that the Wrestling News is on Twitter. Follow @WrestlingNewsAV for Arcadian Vanguard's daily wrestling newscast, breaking news, and more. Once again, follow @WrestlingNewsAV for the wrestling news. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the wrestling news. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.